Good afternoon and welcome back to Hispanic Speak Out. I'm Jose Miranda, I'm co-host of the program. Danny Ramos has the night off, lucky dog, and he'll be back next week. We have an exciting schedule in front of us. We have two great interviews. And before we start, I want to tell you that we have the license plate that we want you to be aware of and to look into it. It helps support the neighborhood and all the nonprofits. Additionally, we have a lawyers.com site we would want you to come and look at, and so that you can get the best representation that you can as you go forward if and when you need an attorney. A lot of things going on in the community, a lot of things going on in the state. First of all, you know we had a shooting here in Florida, in Sanford, a little over a month ago. In which case, the defendant here in this case is claiming a self-defense issue, and that he was attacked by this young man, and so he defended himself and he was shot subsequently in the chest. There's a big brouhaha here, whether this is racially motivated, not racially motivated, whether it's part of a law that says stand your ground that we have instituted here in the state of Florida since 2005, and which was signed into effect by Jeb Bush, one of our beloved ex-governors and Republican governors, I should say. And so this is a law that apparently Florida needed, was pushed by the gun lobby, was at the signing you had persons representing the gun lobby there to wish Jeb Bush well on this monumental law, which has been adopted by I think another 26 states in the union, to stand your ground. One of the questions that comes to mind, and as we discuss this, is did this young man also had a right to stand his ground under the Stand Your Ground Act? Did he have a right to stand his ground to defend himself in this life and death issue? Because it's not being discussed. So did he have 50% right to stand up to? And I ask you, the audience, okay, and you can respond in kind. You can respond in kind to your beliefs in it, okay? Whether this young man had a right to stand his ground. And we need to know that. Also, what we have out there in the Supreme Court of the United States, we have the issue of what they call the Obamacare, which is, as you all know, is the right for everyone, for most Americans, to have insurances, and whether we should have the individual mandate, or whether the state or the government has a right to ask individuals to buy insurance. Now, in 1994, President Clinton and Hillary Clinton introduced bills that wanted to have the advocacy of this to be taken over by the employers, by the insurances, to provide mandatory insurances. The Republicans at that time were very staunch against it, and they came up with their own bill, which is exactly the same bill the president introduced, the individual mandate. So it's funny that in 1994, they were for a mandate, and when this President Obama, who happens to be African American, and for those missing it on their screens, he's the one that doesn't look like the other guy, okay? He has skin pigmentation, okay? So you can clearly tell that he's different, okay? So he's the African American that a lot of Republicans, for some reason, for over the last several years, they didn't recognize he was African American. So for you guys watching at home, he's African American, and the word is American, okay? So we'll see how the justices rule on this in this pivotal time. stands to question the common sense of this. Why is this being brought up in an election year? Why now, prior to the 2012 election? So we welcome your commentary. A good friend to the show has a dear friend, Ms. Glenda Chauncey Glenda, and she's a advocate for foreclosures and mortgages. A very trusted friend, as I said, a very close friend to the show. Welcome, and thank you for coming on.
Hi, Jose. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
It's been a while.
Yeah, a little bit. So we go back a ways.
We go back.
We go back. Okay, well,
definitely.
On the air and stuff like that. And so we see all these things, and you hear the controversies, and I'm sure that you have an opinion or two on these things. Before we go to the foreclosure things, we don't want to miss that. What do you think that some of the controversies here? You know, we have laws in Florida that we've passed a whole lot of laws that don't necessarily work in the people's favor. They seem to be sort of one-sided.
Correct.
Okay, I'm not going to say, well, the left or right, but and then you have all these things that have kind of spelled doom and gloom for us over the last several years, or at least over the last 3 or 4 years in the housing market and stuff. And we've had presidential candidates that are out there now who've indicated we should go with the flow of the marketplace. Okay, so basically, I've gathered what that means is that you should fall in the hole. The dirt should be tapped on your head, and then after all that is done, if a seed grows, then we might be able to help you. Is that basically?
Well, you know, you're leading into something that really gets to me, because, you know, after 5 years of watching foreclosures and witnessing firsthand proof of fraud, robo-signing, there's a lot of terminology that's given to that. You know, here Obama approves a $46 billion, again, another bailout of our tax money to pay the attorney generals in every state across the U.S. because of fraud. Now, the problem I have with this, why would you give all this money if there really wasn't proof of fraud? And why aren't people being, you know, prosecuted for this? Criminal charges. I mean, they fraudulently documented paperwork to make it look like the banks had the right to take these homes, and they never did. Okay, well, answer your own question then. Yeah.
Why is no one being prosecuted?
Well, I believe because it is so across the board. There's so many people that would be guilty of this fraud, from very high levels. Executives to politicians, possibly. I mean, it's so deep-rooted that I believe that if they were to start doing this, you would probably see a domino effect of very high-powered people serving prison time, which they should be. For an example, Countrywide, 2 executives within Countrywide warned Bank of America internally in emails stating what you are doing is against the law.
Okay. And
they had full knowledge that this robo-signing was occurring. So why did the higher-ups not listen to these 2 executives within, you know, their own bank? I don't know. It's a choice they made. I think it's greed. I think it's there's a few things that fall into my mind, but it's proof. In my opinion, if the government approved a bailout again of $46 billion to pay off the fraud in all these states, something had to happen for that to now take place. So it's kind of like when you said you bury that hole and you kind of dust it over. Okay, that's exactly what happened. And the worst part about this, it's teaching our children and it's teaching people, oh, it's okay. It's okay to fraudulently sign a document because all you're going to do is get a smack on the hand. If you or I did that,
go to jail.
With a notary saying, this is Glenda Chauncey with an ID and I signed my name and I'm not really who I say I am, I will go to jail.
You're such a great advocate for people out there, and personally speaking, and I know you do such good works. How do we keep up with you to get involved, to find out what our options are?
There's a lot of options going on. Given fact that this bailout again to the attorney generals, there are going to be some new programs. Of course, I don't fully believe in them, unfortunately, because there's so much red tape. But there are going to be some new programs that they're going to introduce, principal reduction programs, things that Obama did offer back when he wanted to get elected in the beginning of his presidency, that never took place, unfortunately. I don't think, maybe a few people actually got a principal reduction, a modification. But I do believe with this powerful hype of the fraud continually being put out there in the social networking, the exposure. For an example, Lynn Seismanak, we were talking about this earlier, an attorney down in South Florida that was going through foreclosure herself. She was actually featured on 60 Minutes. She was just awarded $18 million for being a whistleblower. She is the one who exposed the robo-signing. So
now you also have someone that's coming into the political arena that as an advocate for what you're speaking about. Who's
she was down in Palm Beach County, Lisa Epstein, an RN, believe it or not, who was losing her home and did a pro se, was going to these courtrooms, kind of like what I did to educate myself, like, why is this happening? She did the same thing, became a very big activist now for the whole state of Florida, not just her community, but the whole state of Florida. And she is running for office clerk of the court down in Palm Beach County. Okay. And I would love to support her and get her in that position because her heart is in the right place.
How do we do that? Phone number or anything?
You know, yeah, definitely. 407-738-9889. That's my personal cell number. So anybody down in Palm Beach County that would like to go on a ballot for her, they sign a petition. They need 8,000 plus actual votes or signatures to be able to get her on the ballot, and I think she'll make a huge difference in the next year to come. So I really hope she does well with that.
We will look forward to that and to follow up on that.
Absolutely.
We would love to do that. We look forward to seeing you again, and we want to speak more about the programs that you're involved in because you're doing such good work.
Thank you.
And I am so very proud to have you as a friend and know you do the work that you do.
Thank you.
So we appreciate you coming on. One more time, the phone number to reach you?
You can reach me at 407-738-9889. I actually work for a local attorney here and also an attorney in St. Pete Beach. We're very strong in the courts, you know, fighting against the banks. We're not just keeping family in their homes just to save them time. We really are finding the fraud and bringing it to the court's attention. So, you know, we are doing really well with that. Able to help a lot of people. I mean, even if I can walk them through the steps, you know, to avoid avoid losing their homes and children being displaced, because so much of that's happening right now.
I know that you will hold hands with someone and help them through the facts. So I really appreciate it.
Oh, I do 24/7.
So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much.
We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to be speaking to the one and only. I'm sorry, I got to look at the card. Sorry, we got to look for Jackie Centeno, and we're going to be speaking about the DREAM Act. Okay, so give us a minute, and we'll be right back. I'm Jose Miranda, and this has been Ms. Chauncey.
Thank you.
Welcome back. I'm Jose Miranda. Again, this is Hispanic Speak Out, in case you're just joining us. And Danny Ramos, who is the host, he is off this evening, and he'll be rejoining us next, let's say next Saturday, but next Tuesday. Okay, so remember we're on every Tuesday night, 9:30, channel 49 on Bright House TV. And of course you can go to the website and you can see any of the past shows and guests that we've had, and we've had, you know, a lot of talented people over the years. So joining us now is Jackie Centeno, and she's running for public office, and she's also a dear friend of the show. She's been here before, and she has been a community advocate, and now is running for a public office. Welcome. How are you?
Great. Glad to be back. Thank you.
Good. So, lots of things to talk about. You're running for public office, which is?
I'm running for a State House representative for the new District 48, what used to be District 49 in Orlando.
Okay. It got redistricted.
It got with the redistricting, it's going to be 48 because it used to cover part of Boggy Creek and Osceola County. Right. And now that's taken out of the equation. Okay. So Kissimmee will have a new number. Okay. And then I'm only running for the Orlando side. Okay,
good. It begs to offer a question. Why do you want to run in a place as a Democrat in a place that is predominantly Republican, who can't see their way to see anything Democratic?
Well, I'm running because I believe in our people. I believe that, you know, we need to serve our community, and one of the ways of doing that is running for public office in order to bring a bigger voice of the people to Tallahassee. And I hope that, you know, it motivates other Democrats who are highly qualified, which there are tons out there, to step up and run for office. Okay. Because we're not going to make any change if we keep doing the same things, right? If you do the same things, you're going to get the same results.
Well, as I was speaking to you off air, if you look at the map, we have been, Florida has been Republican like forever, okay? And if you look across the successes in their programs, I believe that you will find that they have just been doing the status, you know, just the norm, nothing extra, nothing to promote anything in any way. They're just keeping the status quo. And it's definitely a time for a change.
It is, because right now, if you look in one of the big issues that we have is in education, and all the funding that has been cut, even with the money that they're putting back in, like Orange County just got about $55 million into the pocket, but when you look at the overall, that's only like 4.8%. That's very little money. Osceola got about 2.8%. Right. Seminole got 4.7 or 8%. That's not enough to make ends meet here, because we need more money. You know, more money for education, more money for the counties to be able to have development, to be able to bring the job market, you know, increase the jobs. Right. Again, we don't have that. And it's kind of interesting that we were talking that even in Florida, where the majority, if you look at percentiles and statistics, the majority of the people are Democrats, yet Republicans run Tallahassee. Right. You know, it's kind of interesting in terms of that they need to come out to vote. More people need to run for office. We need the change. We need the change. It's time.
We need qualified candidates. We need candidates that the people feel comfortable with, not because they have a Spanish surname, right? Okay, but because they're actually there to help the people. What is it that you want to bring to the table that hasn't been brought to the table thus far?
Well, I bring a solid background in education. I've been an educator for 16 years. I've worked as a special ed teacher for a long time. And I worked for the county office as an instructional coach supervising ESOL programs, English Student of Other Languages program. I ran in 2010 for the Orange County School Board as well, so I bring a little bit of experience of politics already. I also have a master's in human resources with concentration in community psychology in terms of how communities work and develop. And I have a master's in Spanish and literature. And I'm doing my doctoral degree in educational leadership currently. So I'm pretty busy, but I think that bringing that into a place where I volunteer a lot in our community, I know the community I live in, I know what the needs are, that is going to bring a different perspective, because I'm working for the people, not for me.
How's this with your family? Are they cool with it?
Yes, I have a really supportive family. Obviously, I don't have any little kids. I have 4 children, and 3 of them live out of state, and I have 4 grandsons. But I have my youngest son lives with me. He's a special ed student, so he lives at home with me, and they're all for it. They support me. It's long hours. The road to in politics is really long and time-consuming, and visiting people and knocking on doors, which is our priority, because it's important that, you know, it's not just calling people, I need a donation, because campaigns are expensive, but it's knowing who I am. This is who I am. This is what I bring to the table. Anything you want to ask me, ask me. Right. You know, it's just the knocking on doors, getting volunteers, and my family is very supportive of that.
So you're supporting education, because you're a deep background in education.
Supporting our veterans coming back from the war right now, because there's a lot of issues with PTSD, with post-traumatic stress disorders, and having them get into some kind of issues with courts, and the courts not handling the part of the disease.
Yeah, the uniqueness of it.
The uniqueness of the PTSD, and trying to work with that and making sure that they're able to integrate themselves back into society, go back to school, maintaining tuition costs low so that it could be affordable. And of course, the healthcare reform.
Okay.
You know, how do we make sure that we have health care
and coverage for everybody?
And coverage for everybody. The President Obama extended to the 26-year-old, even if they don't live with you.
Yeah.
However, it's still not enough. You know, we need affordable health care.
Right.
Affordable health care.
And that's part of the issues that's being talked about now.
And the other side of that is obviously, you know, how do we bring jobs back into our community?
Okay.
I don't know, what kind of incentives can we do for our small businesses in order for them to get by and hire more people?
Now, recently I read something that our illustrious governor has said that we were inundated by at least 700,000 illegal immigrants. Now, I'm not sure how he got his numbers. I'm not sure how many he called personally on the telephone so that the illegal immigrants can identify themselves as illegal, so that he can get his numbers, okay? But given his specialness and his ability to get those numbers, what do you feel about illegal immigration? Is it the issue they're making it out to be?
I don't think it's the issue that they're making it out to be. If you talk in terms of the DREAM Act and what they're trying to do with that, which is the development relief and education for alien minors.
Okay.
I think that, you know, we need to stabilize, you know, how do we, you know, people who have been here for so long and who have not gone anywhere and whose kids are in school and they came at a very young age.
Right.
You know, how do we get those students to be successful here and to become effective, you know, parts of our society? Right. You know, how do we get them to be able to go to, you know, they've been here for so long, go through 12th grade, and then when they go to college, they can't because they can't afford it, because they're going to get penalized because they're going to have to pay outside rates for tuition, room and board, everything else that comes with that. You know, the DREAM Act is trying to say, okay, you've been here, you can prove that you've been here prior to you're 16 years old, that you've been here for 5 consecutive years.
And we're encouraging you to go to school.
And we encourage you to go to school. We'll give you in-house tuition rate if you're able to successfully complete 2 years of college or 2 years of military service. The opponents to the DREAM Act will argue that the government all it's trying to do is build up their military force, right? By having all these students go into the military. Or another form of welfare. Or another form of welfare. I think that in Florida, because of where we are and our citrus and crops, we have a lot of illegal aliens or people who come, you know, for work purposes and then stay. Well,
it's about 0.7% that immigrants the workforce.
Right.
Okay, so it's nothing.
It's nothing.
And it's not like there are a lot of people lined up to pick grapes or, you know, but you know, not bananas, but whatever the thing is, you know, whether it's coffee, whether, you know, whatever it is. It's not a big lineup, okay?
No.
And so, how does one keep up with you and to get with your campaign, to give you things?
Yes, they can give me a call. My number is 407-289-7554.
Right.
Or you can go on Jackie. My email is JackieForStateRep2012@yahoo.com.
Okay.
I also, my webpage is under construction, but it'll soon be up. It's JackieForStateRep.com, and that's coming soon.
Facebook?
I'm sorry?
Facebook?
Facebook. I have a Facebook page. It's Jackie for State Rep 2012.
Okay.
It's in there. I have a Facebook page.
Okay.
But right now, it's important that we understand that with the DREAM Act, it's 30 states actually try to work towards the DREAM Act. Only 10 have actually gotten the DREAM Act in place, where they're allowing students to have in-state tuitions and giving the opportunity for that. Oklahoma used to have it till 2008 when they repealed it again.
Right.
But it's, I think, considering the need for our students to be educated, to be well educated, to become productive citizens of our society, then we want them to be able to do that here. We don't want them to be able to do that and keep being illegal aliens. We want to give them the opportunity to succeed, because most of these kids come when they were little. They had no choice in coming here. You know,
and they shouldn't be penalized.
And some of those kids speak better English than you or I.
Yes.
You know, they've been here that's their primary language. It's not any other language.
Right.
So, you know, how do we help them become successful and become legal so their future generations are legal as well? You know, I think it's an important thing for us to back up, right?
Right.
I'm in support of the DREAM Act, and I hope that many states more, besides the 10, step up to the plate and help them out.
Would there be any one thing that you would do first after being elected, or there's just so many things?
There's a lot of issues in terms of what's happening with the economy and our students, but I think I would hope that I can be in the Appropriations Committee, that I can be in the Education Committee, because that's my background, and see how we can bring back to our community a sense of security and of hope, because people are disillusioned right now. The job markets, even if they say it's increased or decreased, the unemployment has decreased somewhat, it is still not enough. You know, we're still high, and people don't feel safe anymore. They don't feel that the community is serving them. I think there's a lot of, we need to become more conscious of local politics versus Tallahassee politics,
right,
in terms of working more together in some kind of unity so that things can come about.
So you're fairly, you want to work, excuse me, you want to work in a consensus with the opposing party,
right,
to try to reach some bipartisan issues, agreements, so that we can successfully help the community. Is that
yes,
right?
that's correct. I mean, you have to have, because when you come, you know, people say, well, you're Democrat. Yes, I'm Democrat, but whether you win or not, when you work for a community, you don't work for just the Democrats. You work for everyone, and everyone is included in that. Bipartisan people, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, everybody's in the same community.
Right.
So you have to work for everyone, and you have to meet those grounds for everyone.
One more time, your phone number, how to reach you and stuff.
My number is 407-289-7554, or you can email me at JackieForStateRep2012@yahoo.com.
Cool. I thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's really nice to be back.
And we hope to see you again soon.
Thank you.
And come to us and let's discuss the platform and what we can do to make everyone aware of the successes that you've already had in the past and the successes we hope to see you accomplish in the future.
Thank you.
We really appreciate that. So we thank you again for joining us, and remember, we're here every Tuesday night from 9:30 at Bright House TV at channel 49. On your computers, we're all over the place, so please feel free to come and join us and partake of a great guest that we've had. Until next time, I'm Jose Miranda. This has been Hispanic Speak Out.